The number of people killed has risen to 16, and a dozen are missing after 5 days of these devastating fires.
My pious husband is missing.
The baby I chose to have baptized is gone.
Imagine this. A cartoon that started out as a simple family comedy is now famous not just for making us laugh, but for predicting the future with a level of accuracy that leaves many in awe. Have you ever wondered how The Simpsons managed to predict events like Donald Trump's presidency, a global flu pandemic, and even technological advancements such as artificial intelligence? Are these simply incredible coincidences, or is there something hidden behind the colorful streets of Springfield? With 2025 already here, some of its most highly anticipated predictions are set to happen. These predictions range from worldwide disasters to wild health risks. So, which of their predictions should you keep your eye out for? In this video, we will reveal 15 Simpsons predictions for 2025 that are about to happen. In one eerily prophetic episode of The Simpsons, a chilling prediction seems to have come to life amidst the devastating wildfires sweeping across the United States. The episode, long debated by fans, features widespread fires consuming everything in their path except for one puzzling detail. Objects in a distinct blue hue remain untouched by the flames. At the time, this seemed like a quirky, surreal plot point, but today it's sparking a wave of unsettling speculation. The devastating wildfires sweeping through vast areas have left a trail of destruction, consuming homes, forests, and lives. Yet, amidst the ash and ruin, a strange phenomenon emerges: towering trees left untouched, their trunks and canopies standing resilient while everything around them turns to cinders. This eerie sight has drawn comparisons to an episode of The Simpsons, where certain elements inexplicably remain unharmed by flames. Could this be nature's mystery or something more prophetic? Social media has been ablaze with comparisons, with many pointing out strange instances where certain blue-painted objects have reportedly survived the flames unscathed. Could this peculiar detail in the animated series be just another eerie coincidence? Or is it yet another case of The Simpsons tapping into a future reality with almost supernatural precision? As the fires continue to wreak havoc and the nation searches for answers, this bizarre connection leaves us questioning: how much of our present was already written in the colorful streets of Springfield? Next is moving to Mars. The Simpsons might just be onto something again with their wild predictions. Back in an episode, Lisa and Marge joined a mission to colonize Mars. Lisa, ever the idealist, signed up for a one-way trip to the Red Planet. Marge wasn't about to let her daughter leave alone. In a twist only The Simpsons could deliver, the entire family ended up packing their bags for Mars. The show's timeline guessed that Mars colonization would kick off before 2026. Sure, the first mission flopped, but by 2051, Lisa and Marge made it there. And just when things seemed settled, Lisa decided Mars wasn't enough and planned to head to Venus instead. Classic Lisa. Now, with Elon Musk and SpaceX making big moves, that once fictional idea feels closer than ever. SpaceX is already testing rockets and lining up volunteers eager to trade Earth for a Martian life. It's wild to think that what seemed like a cartoon's crazy plot is starting to match up with real-world plans. Mars might actually be within reach. Black hole. Back in 2013, The Simpsons gave us a creepy black hole story in Treehouse of Horror 23. A tiny black hole shows up in Springfield, and things go downhill fast. At first, it starts swallowing random stuff, but the more it eats, the bigger it gets until it's pulling in everything and everyone. By the end, Springfield is gone, sucked into another dimension. But instead of being destroyed, the people of Springfield find themselves in a strange new world, surrounded by aliens who seem oddly welcoming. This idea of black holes as portals to other dimensions might sound like pure joke, but with the pace of space exploration, it's starting to look more intriguing. India's latest space missions are already diving into the mysteries of black holes, with researchers hoping to learn more about how they work. Could black holes actually lead to other realms? As we step into 2025, these theories are getting some serious attention. What once seemed like a cartoon's wild imagination could be closer to the truth than we ever thought. Music-induced minds. In the 2001 episode New Kids on the Block, The Simpsons showed a creepy twist on a boy band. Bart and his friends form a band called Party Posey. Looking good, guys. But the twist is that their music is secretly controlled by the US Navy using subliminal messages to recruit kids. The song's chorus hides the message, "Join the Navy," when flipped. This sounds pretty wild, but as strange as it seems, this episode is eerily close to real-life theories. Some people believe that music, especially certain genres, is used to influence people's thoughts. The idea that powerful figures use music to control what people think isn't completely out there. The Simpsons nailed this idea, showing how music could be more than just entertainment. It could actually be a tool to influence minds. Who knows how much music shapes how we think or even what we do? Maybe the show was onto something after all. World War I. In 2000, The Simpsons aired an episode that imagined a chaotic future, hinting at the outbreak of World War I. Wake up, everybody! It's World War I! The scene showed characters scrambling for safety as bombs fell, capturing a world on the brink of collapse. At the time, it seemed like pure exaggeration, but today the idea doesn't feel so far-fetched. Global tensions are at an all-time high, with conflicts like the Russia-Ukraine war and the ongoing strife in the Middle East fueling division. Major powers like the US, Russia, and China are caught in a web of alliances and rivalries, making the possibility of a large-scale conflict alarmingly real. Meanwhile, economic instability and political unrest only add to the uncertainty. The episode also featured Lisa Simpson as president. "Yes, I am proud to be America's first straight female president," she said, stepping into a crumbling nation after Donald Trump's administration. Her remarks about inheriting a broken budget highlighted the struggles of leadership during times of crisis. With the world on edge and 2025 already here, this unsettling prediction feels like another moment where The Simpsons might have been onto something. Are these mere coincidences, or is there something deeper about the way this animated series reflects our world? In the streets of Springfield, the future may be closer than we think. Virtual dining. The Simpsons once imagined a world where dining went virtual, and it was both funny and unsettling. In a futuristic episode, Homer and Marge used VR headsets and feeding tubes to enjoy virtual fudge. However, Homer wasn't impressed, saying it tasted awful. While the idea seemed far-fetched back then, it's becoming real. Companies like Aerobanquets RMX are making virtual dining experiences a reality, where each bite of food takes you to a different virtual location. Even cruise lines like Royal Caribbean are experimenting with VR dining to enhance their onboard experiences. The show also hinted at the downsides of this technology. In the episode, people immersed in VR started losing touch with the real world, wandering aimlessly with headsets on. This concern feels relevant as VR becomes more common in everyday life. Virtual dining may sound exciting, but The Simpsons' take on it shows how it could impact our social lives and habits. Eating through a feeding tube while being mentally transported elsewhere might seem futuristic, but it raises the question of how much technology will shape even our simplest pleasures this year. Zombie apocalypse. The Simpsons showed a wild zombie apocalypse scenario in the Treehouse of Horror XX episode, where a food disaster set everything in motion. It all began with Burger 2, a twisted creation made from cannibalistic cows. When Kent Brockman took the first bite, he turned into a muncher, a zombie-like creature driven by hunger. The infection spread rapidly, turning Springfield into a chaotic mess. The Simpson family managed to survive, with Bart somehow immune to the outbreak. While zombies may seem like a stretch, the idea of a food-related crisis causing widespread panic is not. Issues like foodborne illnesses, unsafe farming practices, and experimental food production have shown how vulnerable the global food supply really is. Outbreaks of deadly pathogens in the past, such as E. coli and Salmonella, have already caused serious concern. The episode also captured how quickly panic can take over when food safety is compromised. As food production becomes more advanced and risks increase, the thought of an unexpected crisis affecting millions feels more plausible than ever, making this Simpsons prediction hit closer to home. Trump's presidential takeover. In a 2015 episode of The Simpsons, a quick scene showed Homer flying past a sign that read, "Trump 2024. At the time, it seemed like just another clever gag from the writers. Fast forward years later, and Donald Trump officially announced his 2024 presidential bid on November 15, 2022. This moment left many stunned, as the show once again seemed to predict a major political event long before it happened. What makes this even more shocking is that this prediction came before Trump had even become president. The Simpsons writers have a way of weaving these details into their episodes, blending humor with uncanny accuracy. Trump remains one of the most polarizing figures in modern politics, and his return to the presidential race has already set the stage for more intense debates and division. For heated debates and endless speculation, the show's ability to align with real-life events, especially ones as unpredictable as this, continues to amaze viewers. AI taking over jobs. In the world of The Simpsons, robots have been taking over jobs for years, and it's starting to feel like that prediction is coming true in 2025. Back in 2012, the show aired an episode where Mr. Burns replaced all the power plant employees with robots, leaving Homer out of work. The twist was that the robots were trained by humans only to replace them later. Fast forward to today, and AI is changing the way we work. Robots are already serving food in restaurants in places like Japan, and self-driving cars are on the rise, replacing taxi drivers. AI is also taking over jobs in coding, graphic design, finance, and even translation. Tools like ChatGPT are helping businesses cut costs while making some roles obsolete. While this might sound like science fiction, it's happening right before our eyes. Just like the show predicted, the robots are here, and they're not just on TV anymore. They're starting to take over the real world. Holographic technology. Back in the classic Simpsons episode Bart to the Future, we got a hilarious peek into a future where holograms take over everyday life. From delivering messages to replacing letters, holograms seem to do it all. One of the funniest scenes shows a mailman bringing Bart a holographic message, complete with the sign-off, "Smell you later." Fast forward to 2025, and while we might not be saying goodbye with a hologram just yet, the tech world has definitely been playing catch-up. Today, holographic technology isn't just a wild idea. High-quality holograms are popping up in stores and events, giving us a glimpse of what's possible. Big companies like Microsoft have been pushing holographic communication tools, and even some concerts now feature hologram performances. With the rise of AI and 3D tech, the way we talk to each other might actually shift sooner than we think. Phones could end up feeling a bit old school, especially with the growing demand for immersive, face-to-face-like experiences. It feels like something straight out of a Simpsons joke, but here we are. Autonomous vehicles. The Simpsons gave us a hilarious yet unsettling glimpse into the future of self-driving cars in the episode, "Baby, You Can't Drive My Car." Homer and Marge find themselves in a self-driving vehicle, and Homer's confusion about how to steer leads to a chaotic ride. To make matters worse, the car keeps moving even when Homer desperately needs a bathroom break. It felt like a funny exaggeration, but the idea of autonomous vehicles is now very real. But here in 2025, the reality of autonomous vehicles is not too far off. Major players like Tesla and Waymo have made big leaps in self-driving technology. These cars can navigate highways, park themselves, and even handle tricky traffic situations. However, glitches still happen, from random emergency stops to near misses caused by sensor malfunctions. Some cars have struggled to react to unpredictable human behavior, like jaywalking pedestrians or cyclists swerving unexpectedly. Economic collapse. In one episode of The Simpsons, Homer loses his job at the nuclear plant, setting off a chain reaction of economic chaos that leads to societal breakdown. Another moment that stands out is Lisa Simpson stepping into the role of president, taking on the challenge of fixing a financial disaster left by President Trump. These storylines felt like satire at the time, but in 2025, they seem uncomfortably familiar. The global economy is facing some of its toughest challenges yet, with industries collapsing, inflation rising, and political unrest spreading. The idea of a complete economic shift feels closer than ever. Banks are under pressure, and governments are scrambling to maintain order while debts pile up. Major corporations that once seemed invincible are laying off workers and cutting back on big projects, adding to the uncertainty. What seemed like exaggerated fiction on The Simpsons has slowly unfolded into something that feels all too real. Their predictions about financial turmoil might not be just a joke anymore. Environmental disaster. The Simpsons movie from 2007 had one wild storyline where Homer's love for donuts was only matched by his ability to cause chaos. After dumping a silo of pig waste into Springfield Lake, an environmental crisis explodes. The government's response was to seal the entire town under a massive dome. Sure, it's over the top, but the idea of an environmental disaster hitting hard feels uncomfortably real today. Now it's 2025, and the world's already dealing with rising sea levels, intense storms, and wildfires burning out of control. Places like Miami are bracing for floods, while California keeps battling flames year after year. This isn't just a one-off problem, it's turning into a constant fight to stay ahead of nature's wrath. Cities around the globe are building seawalls, rethinking urban planning, and scrambling to adapt. It's like everyone's on edge, waiting to see how bad things might get. Maybe we won't end up in a bubble, but the way climate change is going, it feels like the Simpsons were warning us about the chaos we're now staring right in the face. 3D printed foods. In the episode The Food Wife from season 23, The Simpsons introduced us to the idea of 3D printed food, where meals are made layer by layer, almost like a mini food factory. Back then, it seemed like a quirky, futuristic idea, but now it's becoming real. Companies around the world are already working on 3D printers that can make everything from chocolate to pizza. Some even want to make it more sustainable, using things like algae or plant-based ingredients to print protein-packed meals. By 2025, we could be printing our own food at home or grabbing a freshly printed slice of pizza or dessert at a restaurant. With growing interest in sustainability and food innovation, 3D printed meals might soon be as regular as grabbing a frozen dinner and popping it in the microwave. It's pretty wild to think how close we are to living out a Simpsons episode in our own kitchens. Curling gold medalists. In the 2010 episode Boy Meets Curl, The Simpsons predicted the US men's curling team winning Olympic gold in an epic showdown against Sweden. At the time, it was just a funny storyline, but in 2018, it actually happened. The US team, led by John Schuster, faced off against Sweden in the final and pulled off an incredible 10-7 victory to win their first ever gold medal in curling. This historic win made headlines and became one of the most talked about moments of the 2018 Winter Olympics. The prediction is even more mind-blowing because The Simpsons called it more than 8 years before it happened. What makes it even crazier is that curling was not a sport the US had been known for winning gold in, so this was a huge moment for the team and the sport. The Simpsons were spot on, showing how the show sometimes gets more than just a few things right about the future. In these challenging times, as fires rage and uncertainty looms, we are reminded of our deep need for hope, unity, and faith in the promises of our Savior. Let us take a moment to bow our heads, lift our hearts, and call upon the Lord for His divine mercy. Let us pray for the safety of those affected, for the brave souls fighting these flames, and for the healing of our land. For it is written, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Psalm 34:18. This is not a time for despair, but a time to renew our faith in the one who holds the world in His hands. Let these events remind us that the return of Christ draws nearer with each passing day. His promise of restoration, justice, and eternal peace remains our guiding light amidst the storm. Together, let us stand firm in faith and share His love with a world in need. Which of these predictions do you find the most hard to believe? Let us know what you think in the comments section. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Click on the next video displayed on your screen, you will enjoy it.